So you believe that this warning letter was sent by the Phantom Weasel?
Absolutely. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Phantom Weasel never acts as you expect. He must have faked his own death 10 years ago using a body double. Now that he's back, I'm sure the guards who worked on his case back in the day are in for a headache, but however this turns out in the end...
Couldn't agree more. As a journalist, I'm gonna get a lot of mileage out of... Thank you, sir, for your time. Now, whom should I interview next? Huh? Hey! What a coincidence! Fancy meeting you here! Perfect timing. So, the Phantom Weasel's late...
Yeah, this is the first time we're hearing of this one.
Huh? Oh, sorry. Yes, this case is from a decade ago. Well, not to worry. You're in good hands because I'm a professional. 10 or so years ago, a phantom thief became active in the court of Fontaine. Known only as the Weasel, nobody knew his true identity, and the authorities never managed to catch him.
Wow, cool! He sounds like one of those mysterious...
Precisely. Well, except the part where they actually have a good reputation. Our Weasel targeted whatever people held dear, and no one was safe. He would just as soon steal a necklace from a rich merchant's safe as he would a toy doll given to a commoner child for their birthday. I know. The phantom thieves you read about in novels rob the rich to pay the poor, but this guy did not discriminate. Unsurprisingly, this didn't work wonders for his public
Yeesh. So,
not exactly. There's a good chance that the Weasel would still be at large to this day if it hadn't. A magician named Caesar fell to his death in a botched high-altitude escape. When the police went through his personal effects, they found a hoard of stolen loot and gadgets used for criminal activities. Sure enough, thefts in Fontaine went down after Caesar's death. But today, 10 years on, the notorious thief has once again issued one of his warning letters and pasted it on the gate of the... I had to squeeze through the crowd this morning to get a photo as soon as I heard. Here.
So, this is the warning letter, huh? Look, 3 days from now, when evening falls, I shall take from you that which you hold most dear at the...
This is, without a doubt, a clear declaration of criminal intent. What once seemed like an open and shut case has been blown wide open again. But why has he reemerged?
Uh-oh. If this thief will steal anything that other people value, does that mean even we might be targeted? Really? Oh, let him try! In fact, Paimon's gonna...
Okay, the people have spoken. It's clear that... Let's see, I've got a photo of the letter, my interview notes... Yep, that should be enough to form the skeleton of my article. Something exclusive. Who should I interview next? I need someone with a more concrete connection to the Weasel. Is that who I think it is?
Lenny!
Magic, magician, Caesar! The Phantom Weasel! That's it! Let's go interview Lenny! You see, the original Phantom Thief Caesar was a magician too! And what do Phantom Thieves and magicians have in common? They both...
Are you serious? What sort of a...
Oh, relax! My journalistic instinct tells me that an exclusive news story is beckoning. Let's go! Note...
Wow, Mr. Magician! How did you know which card I picked?
Oh, it's simple. Come closer, and I'll let you in on my secret. Magicians have a special skill called telepathy.
Really? Then, what am I—
Well, first you need to relax, because I can see that you're clenching your fist in your mind, as if to—
Aww.
And now you're getting a little flustered. You're trying to find a way to empty your mind, to think of nothing at all. But you snuck out from home today, didn't you? You told your family a little lie so you could come out and play.
You can tell?
Of course. Oh, and that's the end of my performance. You should really be heading home. Remember to apologize to your—
All right.
Hey, Linny?
Why, hello. We meet again. Are you looking for me? What's the situation?
Well, why don't you guess, Mr. Telepathic?
Oh, please. You didn't believe that spiel, did you? The power of telepathy.
I'm sure that child would beg to differ. Seemed like you were right on the money.
That was nothing more than a little trickery. I made an educated guess based on that, plus the fact that he was the only kid here without his parents, and he looked as guilty as sin. You guys, on the other hand,
Wow, got it in one!
Wait, really? No trickery this time. His warning letter's been the talk of the town, so I figured that maybe you were asking around about that.
Bingo! I plan on writing a column reporting on the latest news about the Phantom Weasel. So, Linny, what are your thoughts on this infamous thief's reappearance?
To be
Angry? What?
You read his letter, right? The Phantom Weasel claims he's planning something in 3 nights' time at the Opera House.
Huh. What are the chances? Wait a minute, you don't think he's after you, do you?
Well, if he is, then his warning is clearly a direct challenge to me personally. And if he's not, then it's still going to be a huge— The mere mention of the Weasel's name is enough to scare people off. So once the contents of that letter get out, barely anyone will be— But I've been preparing for this for a long time. I'm not about to let him ruin my big day. This leaves me with a—
Really? So what you're saying is, we might get to see a live duel between a famous magician and an
To be honest, I'm not sure if I'll emerge the victor. The Phantom Weasel is a notorious crook.
You're being far too modest, Linny. I think your magic tricks are even more inscrutable than—
Thanks for the compliment, though I have to— A lot of people liken magicians to thieves because we both have the ability to make things— Allow me to demonstrate with a quick magic trick. Here, I have a flower, just an ordinary flower that was picked not long ago. Watch it carefully now. 3, 2, 1.
It's good!
That's the question. Where did it go? Therein lies the difference between us. Thieves make precious things disappear, but only magicians make them reappear. If I could now invite you all to check your clothes, there might be—
A surprise? Let me see! It's right there! But how? You have a—
What an outstanding trick! Sorry, Linny, it seems that my previous praise was woefully inadequate.
Don't worry, I didn't take offense. I just wanted to take the opportunity to, perhaps, since Caesar's death, a lot of people associate magicians with criminality.
I can imagine. Coming back to your trick just now, might I presume that you are well versed in floral symbols? For example, magicians often use rainbow roses in their flower-related performances to represent passion and romantic encounter. But you used a Lumidu spell, which, if I'm not mistaken, allude to separations. I'm curious.
Impressive knowledge. It's no wonder you're such a successful journalist. But I'm afraid I don't know the first thing about floral symbolism. I'm just in the habit of using Lumidu spells in my magic. It sounds like something I should look into, though. I'll buy myself a copy of Fontaine's Floral Language.
Well noted. In that case, this brings us to the end of our interview. I, for one, am looking forward to the final showdown between you and the thief. Please feel free to get in touch to update me on any further developments. If there's nothing else, I'll be off. You've given me lots to work with here, and I've got
So, Lenny, are you gonna tell us how you did that?
I'm afraid that's my little secret.
Aww. Well, magicians are entitled to the... You feel it too, right? So itchy!
Not so itchy then, huh? Well, since you're so concerned, how would you like to serve as my...
Magician's assistants? Oh, that sounds fun! Assistants are technically magicians, too! Also, it'll bring us one step closer to figuring out how that darn trick is done! Shall we go for it?
Excellent. Thank you for putting your trust... The first thing we need to look into is who Caesar really was. If he truly was the Phantom Weasel, that means that the Weasel is dead. But if he wasn't the Weasel? Well, that'll make things more interesting. It would mean that the Weasel lives, and he's been laying low up... And if we're investigating Caesar, his fiancée Gemma, we should make a move. Let's...
You took your time.
Sorry, I bumped into the Traveler and Charlotte en route, and we ended...
It's been a while, Annette! We're working as Lenny's temporary assistants in the investigation of the Phantom Weasel.
Thank you. It's good to have you helping.
So, what's the situation? Have you seen Gemma?
Nope. I've been here a while, and...
How bizarre. Maybe it was bad intel. Well, we won't get anywhere by standing around waiting. Travel... Excuse me, good sir. Do you by any chance know a Gemma?
Gemma? You mean Caesar's fiancée?
I'm just trying to get a hold of her because I need her help with something. I heard...
Yeah, she does. Poor thing. It's no secret why, either. She's heartsick. Ever since Caesar passed away, she's been coming here once every week to clean his grave. Often, she just sits there in front of his headstone. I asked her what she was doing once. She said she wanted to speak to him. She knows he's gone and can't hear her from the grave, but...
And she's been doing this ever since Caesar passed away?
I'll bet. Caesar's reputation fell apart after his identity was revealed, so no one else visits his grave. Gemma, I don't know if the mind lives on in the waters after death, but if it does, if I'm honest, I think this is all so unfair to poor Gemma. Her fiancé was a low-life crook. Anyway, all of that said, she's running later than usual today. Normally, she'd be sitting in front of his grave, but... Well, that's everything I know, I'm afraid. You might have more...
All right, well, thanks.
You're welcome.
Did you hear the news? They're saying the Phantom Weasel's back.
You're kidding. Wait, isn't he dead?
I don't know anymore. All sorts of news flying around nowadays. I can have... But what if? Just hypothetically, I mean. What if this Weasel's the...
Called it. Seriously, 10 years ago, on the day it all went down, I said to myself, you know what? This guy's been set up. The Caesar I knew was a good guy. He gave balloons to children on the street.
Oh, please. Weren't you the one cursing his name to high heaven when the police announced the news? You...
Wait, did I say that? I don't seem to recall.
Hello there. Sorry for disturbing you, but I couldn't help but notice you were We're actually quite interested in this topic as well, but we're struggling to get to the bottom of it. Do you think you could...
You've come to the right people. Yep, I was there. Back when he was a great magician. The best trick I ever saw him do was pop a transparent balloon, only for a whole bunch of doves to fly. I was right up close and didn't blink or look away once. But for the life of me,
I saw him perform too. He always used to bring some gifts along for the kids who came to watch his show, and he'd hand them out. Sometimes, he even got the kids to write their wishes down, and then he'd make the items on the wish...
Huh. He doesn't...
But after he died, there were also rumors that he used the wish list to find out what was precious to people. With the... As I'm sure you know, the Phantom Weasel would steal...
Whatever the case, now that the Weasel is back, Caesar's become a hot topic once... I bet Gemma must be pleased. If Caesar's name gets cleared, maybe it'll finally give her... No, speak of the devil. That's her over there. If you've got any more questions about Caesar...
So that's Gemma. Is it... Wait... It looks like she's injured. Hi there.
Who's asking?
Don't be afraid, we mean no harm. It looks like you're injured. How...
Thanks for your concern. But you didn't answer my question.
My name is Linny, and this is my sister Lynette.
My name's Paimon, and this here's the Traveler. We're investigating
The Weasel posted a warning letter this morning. If he still lives, that means that Caesar was falsely accused. You knew Caesar better than anyone else. So if you're willing, we'd love to hear what you think. I promise you can trust us. We won't hurt you. In fact, we'll do all we can to keep you...
I never believed that he was the Weasel.
Huh. I suspected as much. Okay, so going back 10 years, do you remember anything...
No, not that I know of.
Got it. All right, sorry.
If you don't have any more questions, please leave. I want to be alone.
Judging by the look on her face, there's definitely some...
She's lying. She definitely knows something.
That's fair. We're just a bunch of strangers who showed up and started questioning her about things that happened a whole decade ago. In any case, I doubt we'll get any further here, so let's call it a day. Meet me outside Hotel de Boer tomorrow. Over here.
Lynette's not joining us today?
I've had her follow Gemma and see if we can make any inroads with her. They should be at a cafe right now. Still, I don't think... Today we'll be looking into a guy named Lorenzo, Caesar's... When Caesar passed away, All the stolen goods discovered in his home were confiscated and returned to their rightful owners. But Lorenzo was the only one privy to... Before long, Lorenzo was the next big magician in town, his fame surpassing even that of his master, and it made him very wealthy. I had to pull a lot of strings, but I managed to get him to agree to a couple of drinks with me. Be warned...
You neglected to mention that you were bringing 2 other people.
My apologies. These 2 are my assistants. When they heard that I was meeting with the former magic maestro himself, they begged and pleaded with me to bring...
Oh, forget the pleasantries, just sit.
Get a load of this guy. Forget the pleasantries, he says, but...
I only agreed to meet since we're both magicians. Do me a favor and cut to the chase. I have more...
Much obliged, sir. As it happens, the matter I want to address... Yesterday morning, a warning letter from the Phantom Weasel appeared on the entrance to the Opera House. I have to get to the bottom of this to ensure that my show can go ahead as planned. Naturally, any investigation into the...
What is there to investigate? Caesar was the weasel, and he's been dead for 10 years. So what if some sick creep thought it'd be funny to write a warning letter?
Please, sir, no need to get so worked up. I do concede that a copy...
Possibility? It's a fact, Linny. Look, my patience is limited, so listen carefully while I'm still willing... The weasel is dead. Period. Everyone knows that, so do yourself a favor and quit this investigation. It'll lead you nowhere. Look,
Oh, sir, I'm... honored, really. My pride as a magician is what's at stake here, Lorenzo. Copycat or not, this person has thrown me the gauntlet, and I must meet...
Your pride? Don't mince words with me, boy, just...
I want to find out the Phantom Weasel's true identity. I have to know from...
What would that accomplish? And what do the events of 10 years ago have to do with you, anyway? Look, you of all people should know that a magician never reveals their...
Uh-oh. This is good.
Lorenzo? Is that? Oh, it is you! I know that bit.
Another day, I'm busy.
Oh, come on. You can't be all business all the time.
If I wanted your life advice, I'd ask for it. Now get out of my face and go...
Sorry, my good sir. I don't believe I've had the pleasure...
Oh, hey! Edmondo. This is your first time meeting him? Oh, he's always like this. Foul-mouthed and hard-nosed, never... and he wonders why he can't get a girlfriend, despite being...
Shut up and get out of my face. Another word out of you and you can forget about doing business with me ever.
Sorry, I may have had a little too much to drink.
I think it's high time I made a move as well. If you really want to investigate this, Linny, be my guest. But if nothing good comes of it, don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, that fell to pieces in a rather
Totally. And what was all that about compensating you for your losses? Well, he's gotta be hiding something. And not like Gemma. She was a little suspicious.
I think so too. We need to look into Loren. That guy Edmondo seems to know a thing or two about him. He only just left. You okay there?
Oh, it's you guys. Don't worry about me. I said way too much back there, didn't I? Yeah, I nearly talked myself into complete...
So, he was serious about threatening to cut you off? Ugh.
Hey! Don't go prying into Lorenzo's personal affairs. Bad things happen.
What kind of bad thing?
Don't even ask. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to cut this. And take it from me, trouble with Lorenzo is one thing you don't need in your life. You saw him flare up back there. That's not a good sign. You're too young for this.
And there he goes.
Shh! I think we're being watched. So don't say anything and don't look back. Any altercation in the city will attract the guards. You followed us a long way. Why don't you come out and...
So you're Linny. And where's your sister? Save us the trouble and go fetch her for us. Let's not drag...
Paimon doesn't like the tone of your voice, mister! Who said...
Save your questions, missy. You ain't gonna need any...
Looks like we can't avoid this. Now, I'm not the strongest fighter, so I hope you're ready to back me.
Don't worry, we got...
Curses. They're tougher than we thought.
Vision wielders are always trouble. Intimidation ain't...
Come on, let's scram!
Hey, wise guys! We ain't through with the... Oh, they got away! Did you catch... Sounds like they just wanted to rough us up as a scare tactic. And they've already... You're right. She was injured when we saw her yesterday, and maybe she was too scared to tell us the truth.
Well, if that's the case, she should be more willing to open up to... Let's head back to the cafe.
Cool it!
A reward on the road.
Gemma?
You again. What is it this—
We just ran into the men who've been threatening you, and we gave— so you can relax now.
What? Why? I didn't tell you anything.
Sounds like they're no strangers to you.
That's putting it mildly. I know them all too well. It's been 10 long years, and still every time I try to look into Caesar's death, they show— How do I know I can trust you? Do you really think—
I'm afraid I can't reveal all the details just yet, but I can promise you this. Because you see, this is a personal matter of the utmost—
Okay.
I've heard that Caesar used to have a magic workshop where he kept a lot of his personal effects. If possible, do you know where it is?
The Fleuve-Sonde. But the place was sealed up by the police after it. I also know that the Fleuve-Sonde is dangerous territory. Lots of hostile groups lurking around.
Understood. Lynette, you stay here and—
Got it. But if I'm staying here...
I mean...
Okay.
Coffee is live.
If Gemma gave us the right location, then the workshop should be right nearby. Huh. Looks like these boxes are blocked. There we go. It
Caesar's workshop. Nothing suspicious here, just normal magic props. Let's head in further. What was that? Oh, is this one of Caesar's gadgets? Guess we must have triggered some sort of device.
No one escapes my sights. Come a little closer.
Dodge this.
And voila! A round of applause!
Whoa. Look. The doll in the box is glowing. There's something written on the card on the doll. Let's take a closer look. These magic boxes are moving. What do we do?
One of them looks different from the rest. Let's investigate. There should be another wish list inside. Let's keep trying. That's weird. Have we reached the end already? There's nothing here. Maybe this was a wasted trip. This place seems a little too ordinary for a magician's workshop. There's a distinct... We've triggered quite a few devices on the way here. I'm starting to wonder whether Caesar built this whole place. If so, then there must be more to this place than meets the eye. Maybe a hidden... Aha! If I just move this...
A secret passage!
I'm a magician too, and apparently looks pretty big inside. right up. I'm fine. And voila!
Why have you stopped, Lenny?
It just looks familiar somehow. Let me check this out for a second while you guys go on ahead. If anyone makes a major discovery, let's run.
All right, see ya! Seems like we can't step on the same tile twice. Guess we've got to finish it in one run, huh? Let's take a peek inside it.
At one of my shows a few days ago, a child asked me how I pulled candy out of my hat. As a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a built-in wish-granting machine. So I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up, but in the meantime, you can write your wishes down. Well, they took me up on that offer. Enthusiastic. I wound up saving very little this month, but that's not a major issue. I now... 2 children came to talk to me after today's show. I don't know why they were out on their own. They looked much too young to be unsupervised. Anyway, they said that they wanted me to teach them how to do magic. It's not uncommon for children to ask this, of course. I told them that learning magic is very hard work, but that didn't faze them at all. It's like... It seems like something's bothering Lorenzo lately. Surely he's not upset that I agreed to teach those 2 children. I have a good feeling about those kids. They're naturally talented, and they have all sorts of fantastic... They wanted to call me Master, but I told them they absolutely... With time, I have... Gemma thinks so too. She doesn't like... It's nearly time for me to go on tour. I asked the 2 kids if they'd like to come with me. I once overheard them talking about their father and their mission. Sounds like their parents have other It's only been 10 days since I first met them, but I think that I've gotten a feel. They're very tough. They hide things from me too. For example, when I ask... That's the thing about children. Whenever they're trying to cover... I can sense that their lives have been hard. Possibly even dangerous. After thinking things over, I decided to tell them a bit about how I see the world. P.S. I hope they won't find my nagging. P.P.S. Oh, Caesar, Caesar.
Two magic geniuses with a father and a mission, huh? Sounds a lot like he was writing about Linny and Lynette, don't you? So did they meet Caesar when they were kids? Linny?
Shh, hold that thought. As I expected.
Fishy?
All in good time. Before we go over our new leads, I want to tell you how... First, the magician slots themselves into a magic box in full view of the audience. The box is then suspended high in the air. At this point, a dummy will fall out of the box, but it looks real enough to grab the audience's attention, and they start... Meanwhile, the real magician, who has by now blended into the crowd, waits for a good moment to make their... Oh no! Is that me?
Very vivid description.
The audience's gaze then turns... Of course, that's just how I think the process... The inventor of this trick never performed it successfully. When the box opened, Caesar was... He fell right to the ground from the highest point of the opera house. No one could hope to survive that, and no one else has ever attempted this trick since. My understanding of how it works is just based on what it could get.
So Caesar's famous high-altitude escape has never been done. Paimon was about to say how cool it would have been to see it in person, but if it's that dangerous... Wait a second. So if a dummy's supposed to drop out of the box, then where does the...
Glad you asked. That brings us to the secret of said box. This box right here is the one that Caesar constructed himself to use in the performance, and it's not as simple as it looks. Inside, there's a device that only the magician himself... Once the magician's inside, and the box is lifted up into the air, the audience's view of the box is fixed at a... From where they're standing, they have a clear view of the front, sides, and bottom, but the back and the top are now no longer visible. At this point, the magician presses a button inside the box, opening a secret door out of view. He then escapes through this trapdoor onto the opera house roof, waits for the dummy to fall and distract the audience, and quietly returns to ground level.
That's way simpler than Paimon imagined.
Well, there's a little more to it than that, of course. The hardest part of this trick is controlling the audience's mood, and there's the falling dummy, the miraculous reappearance, the pompous performing. Maybe the magician would even have themselves tied up before it begins to strengthen the impression. Many days and nights of careful research and painstaking practice would have gone into this. Caesar was a highly accomplished magician.
So, how did it go so wrong? You said you found some fishy...
I can make a pretty good guess. I looked into the case files. The magic box Caesar was using at the time of his death had the secret button I mentioned positioned on the right-hand side. And, sure enough, he always used...
Okay.
But here's the strange thing. Most of the devices in this workshop have the mechanism on the left-hand side, including this box right here. Which leads me to believe that Caesar was in fact... because a magician can't afford to have their most basic habits stand out too much. People naturally... But a magician needs to be able to redirect an audience's attention at... The essence of magic is getting people to believe a lie. If even the truth raises eyebrows, the falsehoods become... And so, Caesar trained himself to use his right hand to align with his audience's expectations. Great magic always requires... But in his most stressful and nerve-wracking moments, and when no one... Exactly. I think that's likely what happened. Caesar would have been under a lot of time pressure during the escape. He'd have had mere seconds to open the hidden compartment, retrieve the dummy, then open the secret door and make a swift... But I'm sure he was confident. He would have rehearsed countless times to the point where it was second nature. He'd barely need to think about what he was... So he opened the compartment, took out the dummy, checked everything was in order, and then went to leave. With his left hand, he reached for the button, and suddenly, his heart skipped a beat. It wasn't there. Much like when you reach for your keys but find your pocket empty, his mind needed a moment to process what was going on. Instinctively, his left hand would keep feeling around for the missing button, maybe for another second or two. Until with the stakes being as high as they were, just a 2-second delay cost him...
When in reality, someone switched the boxes! But how would they be able to make the switch without being noticed?
It would have to have been someone who knew that he was left-handed, and who could move his props around without arousing suspicion. Someone who was... Isn't that right?
You just couldn't let sleeping dogs lie, could you? There's not a lot of people who'd go to all this trouble for some magician who died 10 years ago. But I gave you your chance. I hoped you'd do what's good for you and back...
You mean Gemma? So you...
Yes, although however stubborn she might be, she was never much of a liability. But you people... You... Which is why you can't leave this place alive.
Step... And voila! Here comes the finale! Now disappear! Step right up!
You kids are tougher.
Had enough yet, Lorenzo? Your cronies can't help you. I think it's high time you started talking, and what I'd...
If I had a mora for every time you said that man's name. Of course you idolize Caesar, everyone. He was just an amateur who did cheap tricks for gullible children. I was the one who made magic into...
So it was jealousy.
Jealousy. Hatred, more like. He poured everything into his street performances and his stupid tours like it was just a hobby to him. Never but the people loved him, didn't they? Oh, how they looked up to him. Amazing. Yeah, so amazing that he was completely broke. Every other apprentice was living it up at their master's expense, but no, not me. I put in all the work, mastered all. He forbade me from using magic to trick people out of their mora. And with his reputation in Fontaine, it was too risky for me to go it alone. As long as he was alive, I had to kill him. There was...
And this was your only
It was reason enough. What other motive would I need?
Well, I was under the impression that there might have been other factors at play. For instance...
In love with Gemma. Don't be
Guess I was wrong about that then. Next question.
I am. Caesar was so strict with me. He insisted that his way was the right way. I never bought into any of that. I was more interested in the practical.
Oh, yeah! Charlotte told us that the weasel would steal whatever people valued, no matter how much
That's just how it looked from the outside. What would any thief want with second-rate loot? I've only ever targeted... I stole cheap things as a way of practicing my craft. It was other people's overactive imaginations that conjured up the preposterous...
So, that's the story, huh? Well, I hope you're ready to tell it all.
What choice do I have? You're a pack of wolves, and you've got me between your jaws. So be it. I've enjoyed power and wealth for the last 10 years.
Very well. Traveler, Paimon, keep an eye on Lorraine.
Lily has told me the whole story. Lorenzo, do you confess to the murder of Caesar and...
Look who's fine. What kind of disciple murders their own master? I hope it was worth it.
Looks like it's all over. What should we do next, Lenny?
Let me think. Let's rendezvous with Lynette and Gemma first.
Good point.
Ah, you're back. You were so quick. I've only just finished my third...
Your third? Lynette, come on, we've talked about this. Everything in moderation. You're not...
It's fine. I'll shift to exercise mode and jog off the excess sugar.
That's besides the point. Well...
Did everything go okay?
Of course! Lorenzo was no match for us. The guards are taking him into...
Gosh, that's amazing. I'm sorry, I had my suspicions about Lorenzo, but...
It's okay, we understand. He did threaten you. But you don't need to be scared anymore.
Sorry. I always wanted to report Lorenzo. He took all of Caesar's property, which I found suspicious. I was so afraid. I was scared he'd do something terrible to me. Thank you all.
Thank you all for clearing Caesar's name. I never would have guessed that Lorenzo was the real Phantom Weasel. He never showed it. To think that lowlife's been living life to the fullest all this time. At least his soul can finally rest in peace now.
If only I'd realized.
Don't blame yourself, Gemma. This isn't...
Yeah, you still have the rest of your life to live.
Cheer up, Gemma. My brother's doing a magic show at the Opera House tomorrow evening. Would you like to come along? This show will be a special one. We're holding it
in Caesar's honor.
Great. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Traveler.
Don't worry, we'll be there. No way are we gonna... Wait. My mom feels like we're forgetting something. Oh yeah! Caesar's diary! We never found out if it... Lenny changed the topic back in the workshop, so we didn't get a chance to bring it up. Oh well. Guess we'll just have to ask Lenny tomorrow evening.
Not this time. My brother's going solo today, so I'll be watching with you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody's ready. The great magician Linny has prepared a spectacular show for us all tonight, concluding with an all-new...
Wow!
Thank you all so much for coming. Now, prepare to join me on a journey through the...
Exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yes, it's just...
No wonder. Caesar was a famous so how did you two first meet?
Well, I was out on the street once, and children love magic, because they're willing to believe in things that can't be rationally explained. Caesar had, and somehow, I felt drawn to him too. So I went up and asked...
Aw, that sounds...
It was with a flower. He took it in his hand. I was so happy that day.
Oh, that's so cute! Actually...
Is that right? Then I suppose he's a romantic at heart, just like Caesar. After all, you never know when the people...
That's right! It's all, Paimon doesn't really know how to comfort you, but...
Right. Yes, you can breathe easy now. Phantom Weasel.
See? Even Lynette says... Wait, the Phantom Weasel? Lorenzo escaped? Where is he?
What do you mean?
As Linny once said, a performer's job is to commit fully to their role and put on a flawless performance for their audience. But once the bag of tricks is empty and the curtain falls, it's time to end the show. It's been 10 years, Gemma. Aren't you tired of the grieving widow act? I think it's time to put an end to it.
What are you talking about? Traveler, Paimon doesn't like where this is going. Come on!
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all... There will now be a brief intermission, after which Linny will perform the most electrifying act of... The final performance will take place outside of the Opera House, so...
The Phantom Weasel never did like public places. Don't worry, this place will be quiet soon.
Dear me, this is awkward, isn't it? And unfortunately, I'm all out of gadgets, so I'm afraid I can't... This is a big mistake for a magician to make. But thankfully...
Lenny? Don't we have more important things? Lynette accused Gemma of being the real Phantom Weasel a moment ago. Oh, what?
All in good time. Magicians are good at guessing what people are thinking. I know the questions...
Really? Well then, let's hear it!
Let's go back to the very beginning. A decade ago, when the Phantom Weasel was terrorizing the Court of Fontaine, she never missed a target. But as her infamy grew, so did the readiness of the police, and her opportunities to act became ever fewer. Every day, she ran the risk of being exposed for who she was. Of course, she could not simply take this lying down, and before long, she found her ticket to freedom. She would create a scapegoat, After weighing her options, she set her sights on a renowned magician, Caesar. After all, magic and theft shared enough similarities for people to buy the story when the truth came out.
So...
Being the master deceiver she was, the Weasel easily earned Caesar's trust. Now, all that remained was to frame him for her countless crimes. But as she was considering how to make her move, she noticed Caesar's aggrieved pupil, and a new thought entered her mind. Maybe I don't need to get my hands... At her encouragement, Lorenzo tampered with Caesar's magic box, causing him to fall to his death. Afterwards, Lorenzo seized his master's property, and the Weasel set about tarnishing Caesar's reputation. Two co-conspirators committed the perfect crime.
I've gotta hand it to you. You're both exceptional storytellers. But I just have one question. You seem to think that I am the villain in this tale.
Don't worry, Lorenzo said nothing at all. But I never believed that he was the weasel, and in fact, my investigation only made me more certain of that. He was too forthcoming with his—
How disappointing. So you'd sooner trust Lorenzo than me? Even without a shred of evidence?
A magician is an expert at playing the audience to get the result they want. And I have no doubt that you, Gemma, are equally talented. With a little help from Lorenzo, you put on a very convincing performance. The lovesick fiancé, whose devotion to her betrothed is Caesar was maligned and hated by all for 10 years, but you? Everyone who would suspect for 1 second that the lovely young lady always seen weeping in front of Caesar's grave?
Wait, so you mean the whole intimidation thing was— But why would Lorenzo agree to that? And why didn't he sell her out, even at the end and—
Yes, why indeed? Maybe Gemma herself could enlighten us on that question.
Well, Linny, if you're so confident in your version of events, having killed Caesar with his own hands, Lorenzo was plagued by overwhelming guilt. Revealing the Phantom Weasel's true identity would serve no purpose. But if the Weasel remained free—
An excellent answer. Though sad—
Is that right? Well, don't let me bore you. If you'd care to change the topic—
As a matter of fact, there's one thing I'd really— Why would the real Weasel have targeted things that only have value to other people?
Of course. After all, we're just— If I had to guess, I would say that the real— left to fend for herself after her parents died young. Betrayed. Scorned. She'd scrounge waste paper from garbage bins to draw on, using twigs and dirt for lack of ink and pen. She'd sew ugly rag dolls. This was her only source of happiness in life. But it was all she needed. And she was once again, she was betrayed. And this time, everything was taken from her. She felt like life was a miry pit that— This was a fate too cruel for anyone to bear. Her pain became a— I detest the happiness of others. I will rob them of everything they hold to be good and true.
That's some pretty—
Now, does this story satisfy you, Linny?
Yes, it is quite to my tastes. Thank you for helping.
Huh. That's right! What drove you to write that letter? Because without that, none of this would have ever come to light!
She didn't write the letter.
After 10 long years, I'd hoped that the Phantom Weasel would be Linny. Or should I call you the Phantom Copycat now? You were the one who posted that letter outside the Opera House.
Very sharp, Phantom Weasel. Still as shrewd as ever. Well, no need for me to be coy about it. Our goal was to clear Caesar's name. The most straightforward way to change the public's impression of Caesar was to force the Weasel to show themselves.
That's it?
Of course we did. We made it quite clear in the letter, I believe. I shall take from you that which you hold most dear, just as you—
10 years ago? Wait. Oh, I get it. You were those two obnoxious kids. He taught you magic back then, didn't he? For what, 10 days or something?
We remember all our debts, however great or small. 10 years ago, Caesar's reputation was torn to shreds, and his legacy was thrown out. But we did not forget.
And? What exactly did you take from me? I'm
free. Caesar once told me that even though the world is filled with lies and falsehoods, I think that applies to you too. Truth can take many forms. Life took many things from you, and those wounds never healed. When they ached unbearably in the dead of night, stealing became your way of numbing the—
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that for the last 10 years, you've been living a rather uneventful life. Perhaps that's because you found something other than a life of crime. Back to Lorenzo for a second. He murdered his own master, played along with your act and took pains to make sure any suspicion would be directed towards him. He knew who you were and the things you'd done, and despite that, he was willing to give everything up for your sake. You're more than just accomplices in murder. You're the only real friends each other has. So I think you know deep down, but that truth is gone now. And I guarantee you.
Congratulations on your freedom, Gemma.
Your freedom will cost you dearly. From now on, you'll be all alone in a world full of lies.
Gather round, one and all. The time has now come. I'm sure you're all wondering what he has...
A high-altitude escape?
I'm sure you all remember the magician, but we have now learned that Caesar was wrongly accused, and that the real Weasel has now confessed to...
Guess that's my cue to leave. Whew. I've been... Traveler, Paimon, I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. There may be a lot of people watching tonight.
Lynn, you two hid a lot from Caesar. He went to his grave without ever knowing your secrets. So what about now? Are you an open book? You don't have to tell lies to end up isolated and alone. One day, you'll end up exactly...
You're wrong. I'm nothing like you.
So,
Like Lenny said, when you're ready, let's head outside.
What about Gemma?
She'll figure out what's best for her soon enough. Oh, and if you'd like to see Lenny after...
All right. Well...
Magic should be mysterious, surprising, and defy logic. Magic is hard work. Every single movement has to be practiced thousands of times.
It's alright. We're used to that.
We're sorry. You've taught us so much, but we can't tell you the whole truth.
It's okay. Do you still remember what I told you? This world is full of lies and falsehoods. I only hope that one day, you can find your own truth.
What about you? Have you found your truth?
Magic is my truth. I want to perform a magic trick so great that people will always think of me when they talk about it. For a magician, what greater honor could there be?
Look! Behold! Lenny is sealed inside the box. Will he manage to escape? 10 years ago, Caesar attempted this very trick, and it was at this precise moment that...
Lenny! Watch out!
Mysterious. Surprising. And logic-defying. Isn't that right? This honor belongs to you. Caesar. I'm just sorry it's a little late.
Did you see that? 1 minute he was falling, and the next...
How could he possibly have done...
How mysterious. I didn't blink once.
What a heart-stopping magic show! This was... Caesar's name has finally been cleared, and Fontaine's new star magician Linny has fulfilled a wish.
Looks like everyone really loved Linny's grand finale. Paimon doesn't see Linny anywhere. Oh, Lynette said he'd be waiting for us at the usual hunt. But, oh, you mean the one where... Yeah, that's probably... All right, let's go... Are you all right? Paimon was scared to death.
Magic is a performance art. A magician has to get creative to keep the audience. I was honestly a little nervous during the live performance. The thought of falling, suddenly... Sometimes, I can't help but wonder what Caesar... Did he regret taking Gemma and Lorenzo on? Or...
You know, Paimon's been wanting to ask you about something ever since we were in Caesar's workshop.
After I joined the House of the Hearth. I told you about my past before, remember? As a young boy, I survived by secret, but I quickly realized that observation alone could only get me so far. I needed to learn how to improve. We were gifted enough that we...
So that's why you sought Caesar out?
Yes. We figured there was no harm in asking, but it took us by In all, we only spent 10 short days together, but he was very good to us. For instance, when he asked why I wanted to learn magic, I answered, but in truth, there was already a lot more to the story by then. What amazed me was how the lie escaped my lips even as I was hesitating over whether trust is a beautiful thing. Sadly...
Linny...
Still worried about the way I feel? But don't worry, I'm used to it now. From the mansions of the elite to the House of the Hearth, lies and selfishness. After Caesar went on tour, we became busy with our missions. The next we heard of him was that he'd fallen to his death, and was now... That night, I remembered his smile. To keep secrets is to put up walls. The longer you keep them up, the less you let people in. Then, one day, you look around and realize your life is like an empty auditorium after a show. You only realize how much someone really meant to you when you lose them.
Yeah, Chip, we've had to say our fair share of goodbyes during our journey, too. But delicious food, fun toys, and the Traveler by my side. You know, Traveler, doesn't that kind...
Exactly. It's the same for me and Lynette. We are the truest thing each other. Life has taken plenty from us, like it did from Gemma. But at least it left us with each other. That's why the darkness never consumed me, and why it never will. All right. Time to lighten this conversation up a little. What did you...
It was amazing! Paimon just wishes we hadn't been so distracted with the gem... Lenny?
Whoa, that's a bit of a tall order, I'm afraid. The show's just finished, so my sleeves are decided...
Aw, come on! Surely you can think of something. The Lenny...
Oh, all right then. I'll give it a go. Watch closely. I have a flower in my hand.
You liar! There's nothing in your hand!
Huh? My goodness, you're right. But I could have sworn I brought one here with me.
3, 2...
Now, have another look around. Maybe the flowers appeared somewhere else.
Really? Let's see. Wow, there it is! Oh, this is a different flower from the last time. But more importantly, Paimon has to know how the trick is done.
Well, if you want to learn magic, you'll have to start...
Fine. Please.
Since you asked so nicely, I'll share one little tip with you. Namely, the student of magic...
Is that it?
Ah, look at the time. We shouldn't linger here too long. Thanks again for coming to see my I look forward to...
All right. Shall we head back down too? Oh, Paimon can't wait to read the Steambird tomorrow. Let's head to the Steambird's office.
Freeze!
Come a little closer. Let's spark things up a little.
Cool it! Wind blade! Dodge this!
Come a little closer.
should be a light.
I'm very sorry, Charlotte, but...
Oh, please, Linny, I'll only take a moment of your time.
Huh? What's happening here?
I spent all night writing my piece about the Phantom Weasel, and it was going to go to print this morning. But just as dawn broke, I suddenly received news that Caesar's fiancée, Gemma, had contacted the guards and confessed to having been the real Phantom Weasel all along.
That was quick.
Hmm?
Too late, bro.
That was quick, you say? It sounds like I've got some catching up to do. Please, fill me in.
Whoops.
Aha! My instincts did not lead me astray. You do have something to hide. Gemma turning herself in must have something to do with Linny's performance last night.
Maybe watching my high-altitude escape trick reminded her of a better time with Caesar, and she could no longer ignore the voice of her conscience.
Huh. Okay, then. Wait, no, there must be more to it. If that's all it took for her to have a change of heart, how did it take her 10 whole years?
Well...
Oh, I remember now! Quickfire question! Where did you all go after the show?
Oh, we went to the cemetery and Linny did a private magic trick too. Actually, glad you mentioned it, because that reminds Paimon. Guess what? Linny started using rainbow roses in his tricks.
What? I don't recall ever having received a rainbow rose from you myself.
No, I just...
What now? This is getting pretty...
Seems like this interview wasn't meant to be. Well, never mind. There's always... Forgive my persistence, but when there's... Apparently, one of the things she said to the guards was that her final wish is to see Lorenzo one last time. All right, I guess I'll leave you to continue the rest...
Lynette?
Don't worry, I wasn't angry.
Oh, really? Oh,
Phew. You and me both, Paimon. You and me both.
Please, take good care of that rainbow rose. I'd be really upset if you lost it.
Let the magic begin! Let the magic begin!
It should be fine. I'm sure it is.
Huh?